Okay, there's a recipe floating around the internet that I found on the Canning 2 Yahoo group, which is a fabulous group of very smart and very experienced canning folks. This recipe is for coleslaw, for canning or freezing. And lots of people have tried have canned it and have been very, very happy with the results. And surprisingly, they claim that it still maintains some crunch even after being canned. And since it was St. Patrick's Day recently and cabbage is on sale this time of year, I picked up a couple of extra heads. And so today we're going to go ahead and get this done. And what it calls for is for each medium head of cabbage, a large carrot, a green bell pepper, a small onion, and a teaspoon of salt. And then there's a syrup that has vinegar, water, sugar, celery seed, and mustard seed. So it's sort of a sweet pickle, I guess you could say. So anyway, what we're going to do first is I'm going to grate up the cabbage and the carrots, and my family doesn't prefer anything other than cabbage and carrots in our coleslaw, so we're going to leave out the bell peppers and the onions. The recipe also calls for the shredded ingredients to be salted and then to drain for an hour, removing some of the excess liquid from the cabbage. So the people who've experimented with this recipe and have not allowed the cabbage to wilt have said that their results after canning retained a little more crispness. So we're gonna forego the wilting and draining section. So anyway, you probably don't need to watch me, grate cabbage and carrots for 15 minutes. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay, well, I got tired of grating and remembered that I have my mom's 1950-something model manual hand crank food processor. It's actually a Rena-ware salad something. I can't remember now what it said on the box. But anyway, it's got these interchangeable cones. I decided that one was a little too coarse for my carrots, but I think that'll work good for the cabbage. And you just put your little food item in there, and well, I guess I need both hands, and away you go. This is, let's see, I think my mom had this longer than she had me, and I was born in 1959, so this little gizmo is at least 50 years old, and the blades are still sharp. It still works great. The only problem with it is it's got these little rubber feet that stick to your work surface, and they've gotten kind of gummy. And so if it gets to the point where they won't stick anymore, I guess I'll have to jerry-rig some sort of a clamp. And just like our more modern-day food processors, you do get some chunks that aren't exactly what I wanted. So I can, I guess I have a couple of choices there. I can either just not use them, pull them out and eat them, or do something else with them, or I can just mince those up by hand. But otherwise, I'm getting some really nice carrot shreds that are going to be just about the size and texture that my family prefers. So, and I'll be right back with the cabbage. Alrighty, let's see what this does with our cabbage. Get my knife out of the way. Well, this is a lot faster than grating by hand. And as you can see, those suction cups are sliding around a little bit, but with the pressure that I have to put on the cabbage, it seems to hold it in place fairly well. Alrighty, I'll be back when this is done, and then we'll get the syrup made. Okay, we're all shredded, and I just tossed that all together with my hands, and that's 2 medium to large carrots and 2 medium heads of lettuce. And like I said, the recipe is for each head of lettuce you use a large carrot, a green bell pepper, a small onion, but you could adjust that however you like. We're leaving out the peppers and the onion because we're just, very basic, people. We like cabbage and carrots. And then for each head of lettuce, the syrup contains a cup of vinegar, a 1/4 cup of water, 2 cups of sugar, a teaspoon of celery seeds, and a teaspoon of mustard seeds. So I've doubled all of that since I have 2 heads of lettuce, except the sugar. I'm cutting the sugar in half. I'm gonna, some of the comments that I had read on the Canning to Yahoo group were that people found the original recipe to be too sweet. And the other thing about this recipe that I didn't mention is that some people like a coleslaw with just a sweet vinegary dressing, and some like a mayonnaise dressing. And the great thing about this is if you like the sweet vinegary dressing, you can just serve it, right out of the jar, dump it in the bowl, and you're all set. If you prefer a mayonnaise dressing, you can just drain it, drain the syrup out of it, rinse it if you still find it too sweet, and just mix your regular mayonnaise dressing or slaw dressing, whatever you prefer in it. Okay, so excuse me, I have the water and vinegar in my pan already. I'm starting to lose light in this part of my kitchen by the stove already, but I'm just gonna add the sugar and the spices. And I went a little light on the celery seed and a little heavy on the mustard seed, just because that's my personal taste. And we're just gonna heat this to dissolve the sugar, bring it to a boil, and then boil it for 1 minute, and then we'll add it to our vegetables. Back in a few. Okay, the syrup has boiled for 1 minute, and I turned the heat off and let it cool just a little bit, because I'm going to be pouring it into this plastic bowl. Now the instructions, recipe as written, says to add the syrup to the vegetables and mix it all together and then jar. Some of the people on the group had said that what they had done was put the vegetables in the jar and then poured the syrup in like you would do as if you were making pickles, perhaps. But I'm going to do it this part according to the recipe. People who added the syrup to the vegetables already in the jar said that they often found that they needed extra syrup. So in order to hopefully use a little less syrup, I'm going to just pour it right in here. And we're going to mix this up as best as possible, but it smells really good. Going all the way down the bottom and get that all mixed up. We don't want any to get into a jar without the syrup, because the syrup has the vinegar, and that's what's adding acid to this and making it okay to water bath can. Because generally speaking, cabbage and or carrots would need to be pressure canned. since they are low acid. Okay, I'm going to keep mixing this for a few minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to do this in pint jars because we thought that in discussing this with my husband that, you know, if we want more than a pint at a time, we can open more than one jar. If we open a quart and then, you know, we don't use it all, I'd rather have to open 2 jars than waste, you know, however much. So, and it looks like I have plenty of syrup down in the bottom of this bowl, so I'm not going to worry about whether I have enough acid. Okay, now I'm going to poke you guys down in there because here's the other end, and make sure we're not trapping some air down there. Okay, at this point I've got my lids scalding. I am using the metal lids today because I went ahead and bought a couple of cases of pints because I found them for a little less than $8, and it seems like I always got enough quarts and never got enough pints. So. Okay, we're going to leave our usual amount of head space, but well, about an inch I think we got there. And wipe the rim as always. You want to make sure there's not anything on there that's going to prevent that seal. Ring on there, fingertip tight, and I'm going to fill the rest of these jars and come back when we put them in the canner. Okay, since we're water bathing this, the coleslaw, I'm going to use my steam canner, which they're a little bit controversial. The national guidelines for home canning and preserving claim that they're not safe, that you can't guarantee that the correct temperature has been reached all the way to the center of the product. However, a number of other places have done their own research. University of Utah being one of them, or at least my source from the University of Utah claims so, and I think there was somewhere in Southern California another university tested them, found them to be safe. The benefit of them is that, you know, this uses 2 quarts of water, where my ginormous water bath canner uses gallons. So obviously, you know, 2 quarts of water is going to heat to a boil faster. You know, I've already got it steaming. So I put 2 quarts of water in the bottom of the steam canner, and it's probably 1.5 inches to 2 inches deep. And then there's a rack, and my jars just sit on the rack, and I got 7 pints from my 2 medium heads of lettuce. Okay, and here's my lid down here. Okay, now the lid, the lid just sits over the top like this. And let's see if you can see it. There's right there. There's a little air vent hole. There are 2 of those, one on each side. And when there's a column of air coming, where's my hand? Oh, there's my hand. When there's a column of air coming out about 12 inches, horizontally straight across, we know that it is time to start timing our process. And let me check my recipe. The recipe says boiling water bath for 15 minutes, and that's for quarts. So it'd probably be more like 10 minutes for pints, but I'm going to go ahead and give it the 15 minutes because I don't think that's going to hurt it. Because, 15 minutes in a boiling water bath is not going to, destroy or completely turn my cabbage into mush. So I'm going to watch for that steam, and then I'll start counting down my 15 minutes, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, there's a nice column of steam coming out. I think you can see it. Anyway, we're getting about a 12-inch column of steam, and now we're going to start counting our 15 minutes. I'm going to be back then. Alrighty, here they are in the canner. We're going to move them over here to cool. See where I can find the best light so you can actually, well, maybe not. Well, anyway. Oh, there's some light. Okay, it looks pretty in the jar. I can see where more carrots in there would be pretty, and if you liked green bell pepper, red bell pepper in there, that'd be pretty too. But I think this is going to suit us just fine. Thanks for watching.